Welcome to the Swayam MOOC course on urban local governance. Today we are going to discuss about urbanization trends and development. I am Dr. Marceline from Anna Adarsh College. The definition of urbanization, it is a continuous process through which rural people's lifestyle is migrated to industrial and commercial areas. We see often in the news, people get carried away that they can move from the rural place and move on to the urban areas. Urbanization refers to the concentration of people in cities. Many of the world's cities have populations of more than 5 million and towns. A social trend in which people adopt to lifestyles, residential patterns and cultural values of those who live in or near cities. Urbanization is the process by which more and more people leave the countryside to live in cities. There are various reasons for the people to migrate from rural to the urban areas. We call them as the push factor and the pull factors. The push factors are the reasons why people leave the rural locations in the countryside, such as poverty, unemployment. The pull factors are something which attracts the people towards the urban area, and they are the location in towns and cities such as new technology, greater opportunities, better facilities and increased wealth. I would like to ask you a question. What are the push factors for urbanization? The four options are employment, new technology, poverty and better infrastructure. I hope you will recognize the right answer as poverty. Because of poverty only, they are pushed towards the urban areas. People migrate from the rural parts of the country to the urban areas. They sometimes even sell their lands, their plots or houses, and with that money they always migrate to the urban cities. Let us now discuss about the trends, the forward trend in mass migration into cities. Just see the graph, you will find that initially in the year 1991, there were 220 millions and in 2001, 750 million. It grows on and on. In 2008, it has become 340 million and in 2020, it has become 465 million and in 2030, we are expecting a trend where the growth will be up to 590. Just see the urban population in millions. It is all due to the urbanization where people get carried away and they move from the rural areas and come towards the urban cities. The number of urban units in India. Let's have a look at them. The number of urban units, the towns and the OGs in India, it amounts to the towns. Just see the graph. In 2001, there were only 5,161. But in the year 2011, it has grown up to 7,935. The statutory towns, again the growth rate is from 3,799 to 4,041. The census towns have grown from 1,362 to 3,894. Urban agglomerations from 384, it has grown to 475. The outgrowths have increased from 953 to 981. This all shows the trends of the urban areas. Now let's go to certain definitions. Let's see what is counter-urbanization. It is a process of population or decentralization where an increasing number of people move out of large urban areas to rural areas, a smaller urban settlement. That is the rural population turnaround. That is known as counter-urbanization. What is urban revolution? It is a major change in the form and growth of settlement due to technological advances. We would have noticed that due to the increase in science and technology, the urban revolution is ushering in and bringing lot of people towards the cities. Urbanization is a process whereby increasing proportion of the population in a geographical area lives in urban settlements. Urban growth is the absolute increase in physical size as well as the total population of urban areas. We would have noticed in day in and day out how the roads have been expanded. So the physical size increases day in and day out as well as the population in the urban areas. Suburbanization is the movement of the upper and the middle class people from core areas to surrounding outskirts. They find it more peaceful to live in the outskirts rather living in the city where the pollution is too high, where the traffic noise is there and lot of people are together. The population is too much, so they move away to the outskirts. The process began in the mid-19th century but became a mass phenomenon in the late 20th century. People always find a way to relax themselves and go out of the city and stay in the outskirts. This is what is known as suburbanization, which is a trend which is happening in the urban areas. Now let's see what is urban sprawl. It is a situation where large stores, groups of houses are built in an area around a city that formerly had a few people living in it. You can see, you can even watch now cities where you had only very less people. Now they have grown in more numbers. The ordinary shops have grown into huge malls and large stores. Groups of houses, you can find the skyscrapers coming out in these kind of areas. So what happens is urban sprawl takes place. The spreading of the city or its suburb, it's known as urban sprawl. It is centered around auto-oriented, low-density development. Metropolitan decentralization and suburbanization takes place. The impacts quality of life from large cities to small towns happens because of urban sprawling. The basic concepts like urban morphology, the study of the form and shape of settlement. Let's refer to the physical conditions or the surface of something. It means that an urban environment is constituted from types of component, element and has certain effect on its physical settings too. What we find in urbanism, the difference between urbanism and urbanization is, in urbanism, sociological study of life and human interaction in the metropolitan areas. Moreover, it studies the role of cities in the role of development of a society. Whereas urbanization is a phenomenon of people moving from rural areas towards the urban cities. It studies the significance of migration and the reasons acting behind it. The urban areas, according to the Census of India 2011, all places with the municipality, corporation, cantonment board or notified town area committee, etc. is an urban area. All other places which satisfied the following criteria: a minimum population of 5,000, at least 75% of the main working population engaged in non-agricultural pursuit is one way of defining an urban area. Then a density of population of at least 400 persons per square kilometer. The first category of urban unit is known as the statutory towns. These towns are notified under law by the concerned state and union territory government and have local bodies like municipal corporation, municipalities, municipal committees, etc., irrespective of their demographic characteristic as reckoned on 31st December 2009. Examples are Vadodara, Simla, etc. The second category of town is known as census town. These were identified on the basis of Census 2001 data. Urban agglomeration. It is a continuous urban spread constituting a town and its adjoining outgrowth, OGs we call them, two or more physically contiguous towns together with or without outgrowths of such towns. An urban agglomeration must consist of at least a statutory town and its total population, that is, all the constituents put together should not be less than 20,000 as per the 2001 census. In varying local conditions, there were similar other combinations which have been treated as urban agglomeration satisfying the basic condition of contiguity. Examples are Greater Mumbai and Delhi. You will find that these areas are overcrowded. While determining the outgrowth of a town, it has been ensured that it possesses the urban features in terms of infrastructure, amenities such as pakka roads, electricity, taps, drainage system for disposal of wastewater, educational institutions, post office, medical facilities, bank, etc., and physically contiguous with the core town of the urban agglomeration. Example, Central Railway Colony of OG, Triveni Nagar, etc. Each such town together with its outgrowth is treated as an integrated urban area and is designated as an urban agglomeration. In the 2011 census, 475 places with 981 OGs have been identified as urban agglomeration as against 384 UAs with 962 OGs in 2001 census. An outgrowth is a viable unit such as a village or a hamlet or an enumeration block made up of such village or hamlet and clearly identifiable in terms of its boundaries and location. Some of the examples are railway colony, university campus, port area, military camps which have come up near a statutory town outside its statutory limits but within the revenue limits of a village or villages contiguous to the town are known as outgrowths. Level of urbanization according to the 2011 census says that among all the cities and union territories, National Capital Territory of Delhi has got about 97.5% and the Union Territory of Chandigarh is 97.25%. Daman and Diu is 75.2%, Puducherry 68.3%. Among the states, Goa leads in 62.2 and 49.8% according to 2001 census. Kerala is 47.7%, 25.9%. Among the northeastern states, Mizoram leads with 51.5%, Sikkim with 25%. The level of urbanization among other states, Tamil Nadu leads with 48.4%, Kerala 47.7% and Maharashtra 45.2%. The lowest urban population we can find in Himachal Pradesh, it is just 10.0%, Bihar 11.3%, Assam 14.1%, Orissa 16.7%. The absolute number of persons living in the urban areas, if you take Maharashtra, there are around 50.8 million persons, that is 13.5% of the total urban population of the country. We can now imagine how big is Maharashtra. Uttar Pradesh accounts for about 44.4 million and Tamil Nadu is at 34.9 million. In India, out of the total population of 1,210.2 million, as on 1st March 2011, about 377.1 millions they are in the urban areas. The net addition of population in urban areas over the last decade is 91.0 million. The percentage of urban population to the total population of the country stands at 31.6. This shows the rise of urbanization and the need for the government to take care of the urban areas. There has been increase of 3.35 percentage points in the proportion of urban population in the country during 2001 to 2011. The provisional result of census 2011 reveals that there is an increase of 2,774 towns comprising 242 statutory and 2,532 census towns over the decade. Growth rate of population in urban area was 31.8%. Further, the number of million plus cities, urban agglomerations, has increased from 35 in census 2001 to 53 in census 2011. The pseudo-urbanization is a condition in which a large city has formed in an area without a functional infrastructure to support it. A city in which significant growth in the absence of adequate infrastructure has taken place is deemed as pseudo-urbanized. The urbanization scenario in India, if we see that India's urban population has grown from 290 million in 2001 to 377 million in 2011, accounting to over 31.7.5% of the country's population. If you see the graph, the urban population is increasing at a very rapid rate, leading to the gap between demand and supply of urban services. As the population increases, they create a demand and there is no supply for the population. This is a basic trend which we find due to urbanization. The growing urban footprint you can see in urbanization's share. In the year 1951, it was 17.29 and in 1961, it is 17.97. In the year 1971, it is 19.91. Year 1981, it is 23.34. In 91, it is 25.71 and 2001, it is 27.81. 2011, it is 31.16. 2050, we can imagine it to be 50.0. That's the urbanization scenario in India. If you take this particular graph, in the year, you will find that in 1901, the total population in million was only 19.39, right? Then the urban population was 3.22, whereas you will find that the urban population has increased to 16.59%. Coming to the year 1911, you will find the total population, it is 21.47 and the urban population in million is 3.25. Then it is 15.13. The increase has come to 15.13. In the year 1921, it is 20.85. Urban population is 3.86. There is an increase of 18.5%. Then if you take the next year, in the year 1931, I'm just giving a forecast of what is going to happen in the future years. In 1931, the urban total population is going to be 23.96 and the urban population in millions, it is going to be 4.46 and the urban population percentage will be 18.60. Isn't it shocking to note that how the urban population increases year-wise every 10 years? In 1941, it is going to have an increase of 26.83 as well as the population, urban population is going to be 5.67, so that the percentage becomes 21.11%. And the year 1951, it is going to be 32. The total population in million is going to be 32, where the urban population is going to be 9.2 and the percentage is going to be 28.75. This is up till 1951. When we go to 1961, it is 39.55. The urban population is 11.16 and the percentage, it is going to be 28.22. Then in the year, as years goes by, in 1971, the total population in millions is 50.41 and the urban population is 15.71 and the urban population in percentage is 31.17. In the year 1981, it is 62.78, urban population is 21.99 and the percentage is 35.03. There is a gradual increase in population. And in the year 91, it is 78.94% and 30.54 millions, and the population in percentage is 38.69. Coming to the year 2001, the total population is 96.88. The urban population is 41.1 and the percentage is 42.43. That's what the census tells us. And finally, in the year 2011, you find that the total population in million is 112.37. The urban population is 50.83 and the percentage has risen up to 45.23. This is the stocking census which we find in the graph. Coming to India's decadal growth in urban population. Whatever I was talking to you previously, we find that seeing the graph, how big the graph has grown from 1901 to 2011. The urban population has increased in leaps and bounds. The rural and the urban population, when you notice that, see the stocking differences, you will find that 17.99% in 1961, which has gone to 31.16% in the year 2011. That is the case. And in the case of urban, it is 82.0% and it is decreased to 66.84%. That is because people in the rural areas try to move away to the urban areas. So there is decrease in population in the rural areas and increase in population in the urban areas. That's what this graph is trying to portray. Then you will find here the rural urban growth differential of India with its urbanization rate. It's very, very clear that you will find that graph shows very well how rural people have moved away from the rural countryside and moved to the city sides. You find that the red graph shows you the rural area and the blue one shows the urban area. How people gradually leave the countryside and move away to the urban areas. The expansion of urban population, it is all due to, it was beginning in the year 1961, there was a natural increase only. But due to declaration of rural areas as urban areas and expansion of urban areas, the growth has increased due to migration of people from rural to urban areas. The number of urban agglomeration towns, it has increased in the year 1901 to 2011. You can see from the graph itself how number of towns were only 1827 in 1901, and in the year 2011 you will find that the number of urban agglomeration town has risen up to 7,935. The population also has gone high. In the year 1901 it was 238.39 millions, but in 2011 it has become 1,210.57 millions. In spite of having so many policies to control the population, still the population in the urban area is increasing day by day. The urban population, if you find in 1901, it was only 25.85, but in the year 2011 it is increased to 377.10%, whereas the rural population in the year 1901, it's a very interesting fact to notice the graph that in the year 1901 it was only 212.54 people who are living in the rural population, but in 2011 you will find that 833.46 have risen. So all these graphs say that how the population has increased, because due to the level of urbanization, number of urban centers has increased. You will find all this in the graph which shows you the annual exponential growth rate. The estimated population also grows, as well as the urban areas and urban centers have also grown in large number. See the classification of towns and villages. We classify them according to population. For example, class 1 are where you have very large villages. The population is more than nearly 1 lakh and the population range is greater than 10,000. A large village will be a class 2 where it is greater than 50,000 and less than 1 lakh. Medium sized villages will be class 3 and they are greater than 20,000 and less than 50,000. Small villages are class 4 where it is greater than 10,000 and less than 20,000. Hamlets we call and class 5 greater than 5,000 and less than 10,000. Small hamlets are class 6 where it is less than 5,000. Then the distribution of towns by the size class, you will find that you have the cities which are classified as class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5 and class 6 based on the population, right from greater than 1 lakh to less than 5,000. As you see the graph, according to the years from 1951, 1961, 71, 81, this is the case of Greater Mumbai where we are showing that how the population has increased a lot. In Greater Mumbai, you will find that it was 12.05%. Delhi, it is 26.69% and Kolkata, it is 6.87%. These are all the metro cities. People all come to the metro cities because of the facilities and the infrastructure, the high technology which is available. That's why people migrate to all these metro cities. Depending on the definition of area, more settlement shift from rural population to urban category. You will find it according to year wise. I have given you all the proportion of people settlement in year wise according to the areas. See the metropolitan cities of India. The map of India shows that how all these have become very, very populous cities. Let's see what are the effects of urbanization. The type of impact, you will find that the economic part, you will find that the positive will be increased economic activity. Because the urban towns are increasing, there is economic activity, creation of employment, increase in labor supply, increase in standard of living. See the negative impact, the price increase during the event, real estate, failure to attract tourists, better alternative investment, inadequate capital, inadequate estimation and cost of events, expensive security, over indebtedness, increased taxes. Let's go and see the tourism and commercial effect. Increased awareness of the region, knowledge concerning for investment, creating new accommodation. These are the positive effects. The negative effects will be acquisition of poor reputation as a result of inadequate facilities, crime, improper practice, inflated rates, negative reaction from enterprises due to the possibilities of new competition. Coming back to the last category where it's the physical, environmental, as well as we also deal with the social and cultural, construction of new facilities, improvement of local infrastructure, preserving the heritage, environment promotion, sports impact, permanent level of local interest, strengthening of regional values. Whereas there is a damage of the ecology, change in natural process, architectural pollution, destruction of heritage, overcrowding, unused facilities, commercialization activities. All these are the reasons where urbanization has brought us to. The negative impacts, just now I told you what are the negative effects of urbanization in India. Now, summing up what we have learned today, the urbanization trends and the development is, one thing is very clear that I would like to say about what Gandhiji has told us. We have enough for our need, not for our greed. So people in the rural areas think that people living in urban areas are very comfortable with all the technology, with all the facilities. No doubt, technology, facilities, medical as well as educational, everything is available in the urban areas. But leaving the rural area where India lives in its villages, so leaving agriculture as an occupation, people come to an area where they do not know any kind of profession and they try to manage with this. This is the scenario. We have to have growth. We have to have urbanization. That is very essential for development of a country. But at the same time, we should never leave our rural areas. Thank you.